Welcome all to Vectors Class 12, and this will discuss about different cases in vector subtraction. So if we are subtracting two vectors of magnitude A vector and B vector, we know the equation for resultant vector, that is equal to under root of A square plus B square minus 2AB cos theta. Now I'll discuss what will happen to this magnitude if we are changing the angle. So consider the first situation if the value of theta is equal to 0. So we can write the value of r becomes equal to under root of a square plus b square minus 2ab cos 0. Cos 0 is nothing but 1. So we can write this will be equal to nothing but under root of a minus b the whole square. So if you are taking the root of this will be equal to nothing but a minus b. Same as like that, we can observe what about the physical meaning of this. So if you are having a vector, let's say a vector and b vector, they are in the same direction. That's why the angle between them is 0. But Rm is not to find out the value of a vector plus b vector. Rm is to find out the value of a vector minus b vector. So we can write this a vector minus b vector is a vector plus minus of b vector. So if you are adding these two vectors, so we can observe that the magnitude of our resultant vector will be equal to nothing but a minus b. Now we can just consider the second situation. Let's say if the value of theta is equal to nothing but 90 degree. So we can observe that from this equation r is equal to under root of a square plus b square minus 2ab cos of 90, and cos 90 is equal to 0. So we'll get the value of resultant vector is equal to under root of a square plus b square. Now we can observe what about the physical meaning of this. We are having a vector, let's say a vector, and another vector, take it as b vector. An angle between them is 90, but Rm is to find out a vector minus b vector. So if you are going for this a vector plus minus of b vector, so we can add this one in the opposite direction. So we'll get the result as something like this: a vector plus b vector is equal to, this is nothing but our resultant vector, let's say r vector. Now according to Pythagoras theorem, we can directly write the answer for this r is equal to under root of a square plus b square. Now I'll consider the next situation. If the value of this theta is equal to nothing but 180 degree. So we can write the value of r will be equal to under root of a square plus b square minus 2ab cos of 180 degree. And we know that the value of cos 180 is nothing but minus 1. So we can write this will be equal to under root of a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. So we can write plus 2ab, cos 180 is minus 1, that's why it becomes plus 2ab. So we can write this is basically a plus b the whole square. So we can write this as under root of a plus b the whole square. So if you are taking the root, it will be equal to a plus b. So you can observe what about the physical meaning of this. We are having a vector a vector and b vector. They are in opposite direction. That's why the angle between them is 180 degree. But Rm is to find out a vector minus b vector. So which can be written as a vector plus minus of b vector. We are adding it in the opposite direction. So we'll get a resultant vector which is having a magnitude that is equal to a plus b. So just remember that same as like a vector plus b vector, the magnitude of this a vector minus b vector can also have a maximum value that is equal to a plus b, magnitude of a plus magnitude of b, and the minimum possible value is nothing but a minus b. So again, once remember that the maximum value is nothing but a plus b and minimum value is nothing but a minus b, and it can have any values between a plus b and a minus b. It cannot be greater than a plus b and it cannot be less than a minus b. Now discuss about subtraction of two equal magnitude vectors. Over here we are having two vectors of same magnitude a and angle between them is theta, and Rm is to find out what about a vector minus a vector. So if you are having two vectors of magnitude a and b, so we know the equation for their resultant vector, that is under root of a square plus b square minus 2ab cos theta. In this situation, the magnitude of a vector is equal to magnitude of b vector, and we are taking it as equal to a. So we can modify this equation. So this equation becomes r is equal to under root of a square plus a square minus 2a square cos theta. So we can write this as equal to nothing but 2a square minus 2a square cos theta. So we can take this 2a square common. So it is 2a square into 1 minus cos theta. So already we discussed that this 1 minus cos theta can be written as nothing but 2 sine square theta divided by 2 under root of this. So if you are taking the root of this will be equal to 2a sine theta by 2. So when two vectors are having same magnitude, then we can find out the value of a vector minus a vector by using this equation 2a sine theta by 2. And remember that for addition we should use 2a cos theta by 2, and for subtraction we should use 2a sine theta by 2. Now here also we can find out what about the different cases. So let's say case 1, if the value of theta is equal to nothing but 0. So according to this equation, we'll get the value of this r is equal to 2a sine 0 by 2. Sine 0 is equal to 0, so we'll get the answer is equal to 0. So we can observe what is the meaning of this. We are having two vectors, a vector and a vector are in the same direction, but Rm is to find out a vector minus a vector. So we can write which is a vector plus minus of a vector. So if you are adding two vectors in opposite direction, we'll get the resultant is equal to a 0 vector. We can observe the next condition, that is if the value of theta is equal to 90 degree. Now from this equation we can write it becomes 2a sine 90 divided by 2. Sine 90 by 2 is nothing but sine 45, and the sine 45 is nothing but 1 divided by root 2. So we can write this is equal to nothing but root 2 into a. Now we can observe what about the physical meaning of this. We are having a vector and a vector are making an angle of 90 degree, but Rm is to find out a vector minus a vector. So we'll go for a vector plus minus of a vector. Now if you are adding these two vectors, we can observe that this a vector plus this vector will get this is our resultant vector. And according to Pythagoras theorem, we can write the magnitude of this resultant vector will be equal to under root of a square plus a square, that is root of 2a square, or you can write it as root 2 into a. Now we'll go for the next situation, that is if theta is equal to nothing but 180 degree. So we can observe that the equation r is equal to nothing but 2a sine 180 divided by 2. Sine 180 by 2 is nothing but sine 90, and sine 90 is 1, so we'll get the answer as nothing but 2a. So we can observe the physical meaning, a vector minus and another vector is in the opposite direction. So we can write this as equal to a vector plus a vector in opposite direction. So we are adding two vectors in the same direction, so we'll get the resultant is equal to 2a vector. We can take one more situation, which is if the value of theta is equal to 60 degree. If theta is equal to 60 degree, we can observe that r is equal to 2a sine 60 divided by 2. Sine 60 by 2 is nothing but sine 30, so that will be equal to 2a sine 30 is 1 by 2, so we'll get the answer as nothing but a. That means if you are subtracting two vectors at an angle of 60 degree, then the resultant vector will also have the same magnitude. So just remember this two important points. If you are adding two vectors of same magnitude at an angle of 120 degree, you will get the same value. And if you are subtracting two vectors at an angle of 60 degree, then also we'll get the same value. So if you are having any doubt, or if you'd like to interact with me on live classes, or if you want to write tests for JEE Mains, Advanced or Neet, or if you want to solve more number of questions to improve your performance, please let me know, and don't forget to like and subscribe this channel. Thank you.